rookie won the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 at the Brickyard on Sunday. He's Alexander Rossi here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Alexander?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How many people think you're Italian because of your last name and because of the sport that you drive in? How many people think that?
Quite a few. I mean, I've been surprised with how many people are actually questioning whether or not I'm American. So that's a little bit frustrating, considering I was born and raised in California. But there you go.
Right. I mean, you're from Northern California, are you not?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So does that make you a Warriors fan?
No, it makes me a Kings fan, but I mean, I'll take the Warriors by default.
Oh, you're from real Northern California. I mean, you're up there.
Real Northern California, yeah.
Auburn,
Near
California.
Lake Tahoe, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're in the northeastern part of the state is where you grew up in.
Correct, yeah.
So wait a minute. You know, I did my first ever job was in Redding, California.
All right, yeah.
So
I bet that was fun.
Well, I was from New York City, so it was the first mountain I ever saw not made of garbage, Alex.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
So I'm just wondering, just knowing your age, did you get the Redding and Chico market local television where you grew up, Alex? Do you remember?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
I'm just wondering because
I don't think the antennas reach that far.
Yeah, I know. That's way back in the day. Well, anyway, congratulations on winning the Indianapolis 500. What were you thinking as you were going through that last lap and knowing that you were on fumes, you could be running out of gas at any point in time?
I was honestly just urging the car on and trying to get there. We knew it was going to be incredibly tight, and actually out of turn two, I pulled the clutch in and coasted and tried to save anything else that we had just in case I needed to give it some more. And I did go in and turn three, and we had just enough power to kind of get the speed up and carry it to turn four before the car turned off and coasted across the line.
Because the car did turn off, correct?
Yeah, it did.
How much after the checkered flag?
About before, like a little bit before, and then I just kind of continued to coast around and didn't make it quite back to victory lane, which was a little bit weird, but there you go. It was a very dramatic way to end the 100th running Indy 500, and certainly not one that I would choose to do again, but I'll take it.
Well, at what point did you realize, or did you I guess, hear from your crew that this is what you were going to do to finish this race, that you weren't going to go through the pits and tank up one more time, that you were just going to push the pedal to the metal and fumes be damned, you were going to try and win the race that way?
Well, the thing was, we were forced to kind of pit a little bit earlier than the leaders because we had to issue the pit stop. So we knew that we had an extra couple laps on them, meaning that we could go 3 or 4 laps longer into the stint than they could. But we also knew that we were 2 laps short from making it to the end. So it was all about kind of conserving fuel as much as I could. And we were doing that all the way from like lap 110 to the final 90 laps. I was actually in fuel conservation mode, trying to just hit a fuel mileage number on the dash and doing everything that I could to use the cars around me and try and get creative with it to minimize the amount of fuel I was burning. And, it was really, really close to the end. We didn't know if we'd be able to make the final lap, but we had already committed so far into the point that we had to drive, and it came off.
How long have you been dreaming about a moment like this, Alex?
I mean, it's the greatest, sporting event in the world, and it's the greatest, motorsports race in history, and Sunday was no exception. I mean, having to be 100 running and having it be such a sellout crowd, especially not that day, and it was a perfect weather conditions, and everything was right for the event. It was something that the dreams are made of, and it's something that I don't think I'll be able to clearly ever forget, but also I'm a little bit concerned about how I'll replicate something like that.
Sure. Well, you've got a lot of time in your career, man. I mean, your first IndyCar Series win is the Indianapolis 500, so at least you shot for the moon and you reached it.
Yeah.
When it all comes down to it. So did you ever run out of gas in real life in a car? Ever?
No. I mean, I've been the guy that pushes the range to 0, and you're like looking at exits and trying to find a station, but I've never actually run out. So the only time I've run out of gas properly was at the Indy 500. How about that?
So your first IndyCar Series win is the Indianapolis 500. First ever time you ran out of gas was the Indianapolis 500. Please tell me this is not
And
the first
time.
Yeah.
The first time that I ever went to the Indianapolis 500 was the Indianapolis 500 that I won. So that's also kind of
So you'd never been to the Brickyard before?
Nope.
Please tell me that's not the first time you ever drank milk, Alex.
It was not the first time I ever drank milk.
Okay.
So I knew what that was going to be about.
But I mean, we just saw you. You were in tears. We just saw you were in tears in the cockpit, man. I mean, this is pretty.
Yeah.
This is pretty neat stuff. Like dream come true and kissing the bricks, the whole bit. Who did you hear from that you hadn't heard from in a while over the weekend?
I heard from a lot of people from my hometown. The thing is, like, obviously, I went to Europe when I was 16, and I raced over there for quite some time. So people really didn't know what I was doing, but people know what the Indy 500 is. So there were a lot of people that I went to school with and grew up with. I've heard from in a while, and they all watched the race because they knew I was doing it, and so it's been pretty cool to see the feedback that I've got from those people that have been absent for quite a few years.
Well, terrific. Hey, Alex, congratulations. Thanks for calling into the show. And if you're here in Los Angeles, I'd love to meet you in person, have you in studio then.
All right, thanks. Really appreciate it.
Of course. At Alexander Rossi on Twitter. Right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.